Hello. Today's reading is Beyond the Utopian Ideal by Gary Douglas. One of my favorite authors. Did you know that? There's actually a warning in the beginning of this book. So I'm going to start there with the warning. Warning. This is not a book you get through quickly. It is not light reading. It is not a book you leave on the toilet. It is a book you're going to have to study. Don't buy it if you don't want to study and learn more. So there's a warning with this book. I double dog dare you to not read it or read it, whichever. And welcome to more motivation and inspiration. And I am so happy to be here with you guys and reading a little bit of this great book. Cool. So, we're going to go for page 9. You are the gift you refuse to be. Before the techies arrived on the Golden Planet, we didn't hold on to anything, and we had everything. Then the techies came, and we bought the construct that holding on to things was going to make us something we weren't. I'm talking about all the utopian ideals we've tried to create ourselves as. Say you've tried to create yourself as cute, perky little blonde, because that's what everyone around you believes the ideal woman is supposed to be. It's just a front or a facade you've created, but you started to believe it's true. Is that who you are? No. You are not a cute, perky little blonde. You are not just a big macho guy or a hotshot entrepreneur. You are the energy, space, and consciousness that the infinite is. Energy, space, and consciousness are the elements of infiniteness. Everything other than energy, space, and consciousness is a construct, not a reality. Infiniteness is not a construct. However, when we try to define it from the limited point of view, we create an illusion of what infiniteness is, and that it isn't. Are you attempting to define yourself as infinite? Or are you simply allowing yourself to be the energy, space, and consciousness that infinite is? No boundaries, no limitations, just choice. Question and possibility. You've got to be willing to lose all the fronts you've created that you aren't you, so you can be everything you can be as you, which is infinitely better than the fronts you've created as you. You have honor who and what you are. You have to commit to you before you can receive you. You also have to commit to you before you can receive what everybody else is willing to gift to you. Making a commitment to you is about the willingness to recognize what is true for you and to be that, whether anybody else goes for it or not. If you wish to lead a life without limitation, you have to make a commitment to living a life without limitation. When you are being you, you are the invitation. When you are being you, regardless of anybody else's reality, people ask, how come you can do that? How come you can be that? How come you can get that? What is it you got that I want? When you're willing to be you, you become the question. You become the curiosity. People want to know about you. You don't have to know about them because you already do. Are you willing to commit to you regardless of anything? That's kind of a tricky question, right? Because we're taught that everybody else should come first. Everybody else other than you should be first in your life. You should take care of everybody else first. Well, one of the things I'd like to encourage you to look at is if you are trying to take care of everybody else first, and your tanks are empty, like you're trying to fill up their tanks, you can't fill up their tanks with empty tanks. If you take care of you first, if you fill up your tanks first, then you can contribute to others with the overflow, right? So for instance, let's say, well, there's a great example. We've all been on a plane. I'm guessing most of you have been on a plane before. And on the plane, in the safety manual and in their demonstration, what do they say? They say, please put your mask on first, and then help others put their mask on. And do you know why that is? It's because if you were to pass out because of lack of oxygen, you couldn't help anybody. But if you take care of you and you put your oxygen mask on first, then you have the ability and all the oxygen you need and require to help others put their mask on. That it's exactly the same in life, right? But we're taught that, you're a parent now, so that means you need to cut all yourself off and take care of your kids first. Well, actually, you need to take care of you. You need to make sure your oxygen mask is on first so that you can help them, so that you can contribute to them. You're not any good if you're dead. I know it's being a little dramatic, but that's, if you're looking at like the logistics of it, right? So if in this book, Beyond the Utopian Ideal, is really looking at all the places where we've made up this idea of how life is supposed to be. And it's often even learned or taught behavior based on what our parents did, or what we learned in some other, from somebody else in our life. We learned that there's this like fairy tale to life. Now, I'm not saying life can't be amazing. I believe life is amazing and it can be amazing. At the same time, if you're living inside of this kind of fantasy world that everything's always going to be puppies, rainbows, and unicorns, you're going to be a little disappointed when things are not puppies, unicorns, and and rainbows, right? So if you let go of the fantasy, you can start to see the true possibilities of life. If you look at your partner with gratitude, but you see who they truly are, and that sometimes they can be a jerk, or sometimes they can be not nice, they're not perfect all the time, then you're not disappointed when they aren't being perfect, because you've already determined they're perfect, which is a utopian ideal. If you think anybody in your life is perfect, you're in some sort of utopian ideal, and that's usually when it backfires on you and bites you in the butt. But if you're willing to actually look at your partner and go, yeah, you know what? I'm super grateful for my partner and everything that my partner contributes to my life. And I can see that they can be a jerk sometimes, and that they have bad days too, right? But that's being willing to be grateful for somebody exactly the way they are, exactly the way they're not. And now I'll turn it back to you. Where have you not been willing to be grateful for you exactly the way that you are and exactly the way that you're not? And grateful for how everything is showing up in your life, even if it doesn't fit the fairy tale or the fantasy that you've created. I, like many other people, when I was young, I believed in Cinderella and right, and the knight in shining armor. Well, I will tell you this: if you believe in the knight in shining armor, well, one, I haven't seen very many men ride up on a white horse. And if you've put them on this pedestal of this white horse, if they're on this white horse pedestal, they'll probably fall off, because again, that's a utopian ideal that somehow somebody's going to come along that's going to rescue you, that's going to be a perfect person and always be kind and always right. But that's not life. That's not true. We can all be jerks sometimes. I can be a jerk sometimes. So if you're willing to see things for as they truly are and be grateful for them, what else might be available inside of that? If you can be grateful for yourself exactly the way you are and exactly the way you're not, what else is possible in there, right? If you're looking at yourself to be perfect, if you're looking at yourself to be a utopian ideal, then you're in a constant state of judgment of whether you're being perfect or not, whether you're doing it right or not, whether you're being good or bad or not. And when you judge something, it kills possibility, right? Judgment kills, gratitude grows. So if you can find that, okay, yeah, I can be a jerk sometimes. And do I choose that on a regular basis? I don't, because I know I have a choice. But I'm also not trying to be perfect all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do try to still be perfect sometimes. And every time that I go to trying to be perfect, I'm in judgment of myself. It's not a kindness to myself. Everywhere where you're judging yourself about what you're doing or not doing, or about how things are turning out for you or not turning out for you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bottle, 9 shorts, boys, and meows. And if you're new to my videos, that's the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. And you can find out more at Access Consciousness, theclearingstatement.com. So I'd just like to encourage you today to maybe begin to acknowledge the gift that you truly be. Would you be willing to maybe just find 3 things you're grateful for about you today? Because it's so easy to focus on all those places where we're not perfect and where things aren't showing up the way that we want them to. Try it on. What would 3 things that you're grateful for about you, maybe writing them down every day for the next week, and see how that changes things. If you like this, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up or like or subscribe or share. And if you, do this gratitude thing and really start to focus on what you're grateful for about you, I'd love to hear from you, whether that's in a private message or a comment below this video. I would just love to hear how that goes for you and what that might change for you. Anyway, thank you for being here on Frequency of Change, which is also Motivation Inspiration with Venus Castleberg. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.